How to train your mind to be calm in every situation. What if you could face any stressful situation with total calm and clarity? I don't mean just pretending to be calm. I'm talking about a deep, unshakable inner peace, even when the world around you feels like it's falling apart. A project at work implodes, a loved one is being irrational, your phone won't stop buzzing with bad news, and through it all, you remain steady, centered, in control. For most of my life, that honestly sounded like a superpower someone else had. My natural response to pressure was a tight chest, a racing mind, and a short temper. I was reactive, not resilient. So, I decided to try an experiment. For the last 7 days, I put that idea of unshakable calm to the test, using an ancient philosophy that was designed for the battlefield, the Senate, and the chaos of Roman life. I committed to a 7-day Stoic challenge to see if it was really possible to retrain my brain for calmness. This isn't a theoretical lecture. This is the real story of how I worked to rewire my responses to stress, confronted my own anxieties, and found a strength I never knew I had. The decision. Let me be honest. The reason I started this challenge wasn't just curiosity. It was desperation. My life, and maybe yours too, felt like a constant battle against overwhelm. I was drowning in notifications, deadlines, and that quiet but persistent hum of anxiety. I'd snap over small things and lose sleep over stuff I couldn't change. My inner world was loud, chaotic, and just plain exhausting. I knew something had to give. That's when I stumbled, or really, re-stumbled, upon Stoicism. We hear the word Stoic and usually picture someone emotionless, like a statue that feels nothing, but that's a modern myth. The ancient Stoics men, like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the playwright Seneca, and the former slave Epictetus, weren't emotionless at all. They were masters of emotion. They believed that while we can't control the world around us, we can achieve absolute mastery over our inner world. They saw philosophy not as a hobby, but as a training manual for life. So I made a pact with myself. For 7 days, I would live by their rules. Each day, I'd tackle one core Stoic principle, not by just thinking about it, but by actively practicing it with a specific, real-world exercise. No shortcuts, no excuses. Just 7 days dedicated to forging a more resilient mind. Day 1. The citadel of your mind. The first principle of Stoicism is the foundation for everything else, the dichotomy of control. It's a simple idea with huge implications. The philosopher Epictetus said, "The main job in life is to sort things into 2 baskets, things that are up to us and things that are not." What's up to us? Our thoughts, our judgments, our choices, our actions. What's not up to us? Pretty much everything else. The weather, the economy, what other people think, say, or do. The Stoics would say that 99% of our anxiety, anger, and frustration comes from trying to control what we can't, while ignoring the one thing we actually can, our own mind. My first day put this to the test right away. I was working on a project with a tight deadline, and a colleague dropped the ball, sending me work that was incomplete and late. My immediate gut reaction was that hot surge of anger. The usual script started playing in my head. This is going to ruin everything. I can't rely on anyone. Now, I have to stay up all night and fix this. But then, I remembered the rule for day 1. I grabbed a notebook and drew a line down the middle. On one side, I wrote, "Not in my control." On the other, "In my control." Under "Not in my control," I listed my colleagues' performance, the fact the work was late, their opinion of me, and the original deadline. Under In my control, the list looked different. My reaction to it all, how I chose to speak to my colleague, my plan to fix the work, and my decision not to let this ruin my entire day. Staring at that list, something shifted. The anger didn't just disappear, but its power over me did. It was no longer a wildfire, it was a spark, and I could choose not to fuel it. Realizing this, truly getting it, feels like discovering you've been living in a prison with the door unlocked this whole time. So here's your first exercise. For the rest of today, notice what stresses you out. When you feel that spike of anxiety or anger, just pause and ask yourself that simple, powerful question. Is this within my control? If it is, put your energy there. If it's not, practice the difficult but liberating art of letting it go. Acknowledge it, and then consciously release your grip on it. Day 2. Rehearsing for trouble. 0. 5. On day 2, I tried an exercise that sounds completely backward. Premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. It sounds grim, but it's one of the most powerful tools for building mental resilience. Seneca said, "We often suffer more in imagination than in reality." This exercise takes that idea and flips it on its head. Instead of being ambushed by bad news, you meet it on your own terms, in your mind first. The practice is simple. Each morning, take a few minutes to visualize what might go wrong during the day. Don't just think about it, really feel it. Imagine the tough meeting, the client call going badly, the unexpected bill showing up. Marcus Aurelius did this every single morning, telling himself he would meet with meddling, ungrateful, and arrogant people. He wasn't being a pessimist, he was vaccinating himself against disappointment. My big challenge for day 2 was a presentation I was nervous about. So, in the morning, I sat for 5 minutes and imagined it all going wrong, the tech failing, my mind going blank, the audience looking bored. I pictured the awkward questions and the hot feeling of embarrassment. I let myself feel that sting. Then I asked myself the most important follow-up question. And then what? Could I handle it? And the honest answer was, yes. It would suck, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I would survive. By facing the worst-case scenario in my mind, I stripped it of its power. When the actual presentation happened, I was way calmer. The imagined fear was so much worse than the reality, and because I'd already faced it, the real thing felt totally manageable. I had stress-tested my mind. Your exercise for day 2 is to become your own mental sparring partner. Tomorrow morning, think about your day ahead. What's one thing that's making you anxious? Spend 5 minutes vividly imagining it going off the rails. Then, calmly think through how you would respond with your best self. You'll discover that you are far more resilient than your anxiety gives you credit for. Day 3. The space between. Day 3 was all about mastering the single most important moment in any situation, the pause. The Stoics knew that our freedom lies in the ability to choose our response, rather than being yanked around by our impulses. It's the difference between responding thoughtfully and just reacting emotionally. We live in a world that practically begs for instant reaction. An insulting comment, a frustrating email, a car cutting you off, the stimulus hits, and boom, we erupt. The Stoics teach us to create a little bit of space between that stimulus and our response. In that space, we get a chance to consult our reason and our values before we act. My test came during a phone call with a family member. We have a long history of pushing each other's buttons, and sure enough, they said something that felt like a direct jab, designed to get a reaction. The old me would have bitten back instantly, and we'd be off to the races in an argument that would leave us both feeling awful. But this was day 3. I felt that familiar heat rise in my chest, but I held my tongue. I took a slow, deliberate breath. And in that tiny gap, that 1 or 2 seconds of silence, I asked myself, what's the best way to handle this? What will lead to a better outcome? I chose to ignore the bait and calmly responded to the part of their sentence that wasn't an attack. The tension just melted away. The argument never happened. It felt like I just dodged a bullet that I normally would have walked straight into. This is a skill, and it takes practice. Your exercise for day 3 is to train that pause into your nervous system. The technique is called box breathing. It's used by Navy SEALs and meditators for a reason. It's simple. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, repeat. The next time you feel triggered, before you say a word, before you type a thing, just do 1 cycle of box breathing. Reclaim that space. That's where your power is. I'm only 3 days into this, and I can already feel a real shift in my mindset. If you're getting something out of this exploration of mental resilience, and if you feel inspired to build your own inner fortress, I'd love it if you'd subscribe for more journeys into practical philosophy. And let me know in the comments which daily challenge so far, the dichotomy of control, negative visualization, or the pause, resonates with you the most right now. Day 4, an obstacle is a path. Day 4 introduced me to what might be the most powerful Stoic concept of all, amor fati, or a love of fate. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. It means you radically accept and even embrace everything that happens, good or bad, as if you chose it. The Stoics believed that obstacles aren't just things to put up with, they are chances to grow. The obstacle in the path becomes the path. Every setback is a chance to practice a virtue, patience, creativity, courage, or resilience. My amor fati moment came when my flight was cancelled. I was supposed to go on a weekend trip I'd been looking forward to for months. My first reaction was pure frustration. This is so unfair. My whole weekend is ruined. I was fighting reality, and it was making me miserable. Then I remembered day 4. I had to stop wishing it didn't happen. It had happened. So, the challenge was to find a way to love it, to find the good in it. Instead of fuming, I took a breath and asked myself, okay, this is what's happening. How can I use this unexpected gift of time? I went home, unpacked, and spent the weekend doing all the things I never seemed to have time for. I read a book that had been sitting on my shelf for a year. I went for a long hike. I reconnected with a friend I hadn't seen in ages. By the end of the weekend, I actually felt more rested than if my original plans had worked out. The obstacle truly became the way. Your exercise for day 4 is to practice this radical acceptance. The next time something doesn't go your way, big or small, catch yourself before you spiral. Say to yourself, this is happening. It is now part of my path. Then ask, what opportunity is in this for me? How can I use this to practice being my best self? You're not a victim of your circumstances. You are an alchemist who can turn any situation into gold. Day 5. The ultimate perspective. On day 5, I confronted the one thing our culture tries so hard to ignore, my own mortality. The practice is called memento mori. Remember, you will die. This isn't supposed to be morbid. It's a tool for getting radically clear on what matters. Seneca said we should live every day as if it were our last, to balance life's books each day. Thinking about the end of life has an amazing way of putting our small daily anxieties into perspective. The fear of what someone thinks of you, the anger over a petty insult, the worry about a future that isn't promised, it all starts to fade when you face this ultimate truth. My practice for the day was simple. I set an hourly reminder on my phone that just said memento mori. The first few times it buzzed, it was a little jarring, but then its effect started to sink in. I was in the middle of stressing out about writing the perfect email when the reminder popped up. I stopped and thought, if this were my last day on earth, is this how I'd want to spend my energy? The answer was a loud and clear no. It didn't make me sad, it made me focused. It became a powerful filter for my attention. It pushed me to focus on what actually mattered, connecting with people I love, doing meaningful work, and just being present with gratitude. It made me realize how much precious time and energy I waste on things that, in the grand scheme, just don't matter. Your exercise for day 5 is to try this practice. You don't need an hourly alarm, but find a way to gently bring this reality to mind. Maybe it's a note on your desk or a quiet moment of reflection in the morning. Use it not to create fear, but to create priority and gratitude. Let it remind you not to sweat the small things, because from this perspective, almost everything is a small thing. Day 6. The evening. Interrogation 0. 5. Day 6 was dedicated to the practice that ties all the others together, the Stoic journal. And this isn't a dear diary where you just list what happened. It's a philosophical workshop. It's where you put your own thoughts and actions on trial to see if they line up with the person you want to be. Marcus Aurelius's famous book, Meditations, was never meant for us. It was his private journal, his personal tool for self-improvement. The Stoics practiced a kind of evening review. They'd ask themselves a few key questions to learn from the day. It's about becoming your own best teacher. That evening, I sat down, away from all screens, and asked myself 3 simple questions that Seneca recommended. What did I do wrong today? What did I do right? What duty did I leave undone? It was an incredibly humbling and clarifying experience. I wrote about the phone call on day 3, acknowledging that I'd done well by pausing. I also wrote about a moment of impatience I had while waiting in line, recognizing that I had let a tiny annoyance disrupt my inner peace. I wasn't judging myself harshly. I was observing my own patterns with the calm detachment of a scientist. This habit of self-reflection is where the real change happens. It solidifies the lessons and builds true self-awareness. Your exercise for day 6 is to try this evening review. Before you go to sleep tonight, take 5 minutes with a pen and paper and answer these 3 questions. 1. Where did I act in line with my values today? 2. Where did I let my impulses or outside events get the better of me? 3. What can I learn from both of these to do better tomorrow? Day 7. The view from above. On my final day, I practiced what I think is the most beautiful Stoic exercise, sympatheia, or taking the view from above. It's a powerful visualization technique meant to shrink your ego and your anxieties by connecting you to something bigger. The practice is to close your eyes and imagine yourself zooming out. You see yourself in your room. Then you zoom out to see your building, your neighborhood, your city. You keep going, seeing your country as just a patch on the globe, then the earth itself, a beautiful blue marble floating in the blackness. You see the solar system, our galaxy, and the mind-boggling vastness of the universe. From this cosmic perspective, you look back at that tiny, insignificant dot where your life is happening, and you ask yourself, how important in this grand scheme is the problem that's consuming me right now? I was feeling especially stressed on day 7 about a financial decision. The worry felt huge, all-consuming, so I did the exercise. I zoomed out. I saw the earth, a speck of dust in an infinite sea. And my personal financial anxiety, from that vantage point, seemed almost comical in its smallness. It didn't make the problem vanish, but it completely changed my relationship to it. The emotional weight was gone. It became just a thing to handle, not a catastrophe to fear. This is your final exercise. The next time you feel buried by a problem, try it. Close your eyes, zoom out. See yourself and your worries from the perspective of the stars. It's a powerful antidote to ego and a massive dose of perspective. Conclusion: the transformation. So, after 7 days, am I some perfect Stoic sage? Am I totally immune to stress and anger? Of course not. But something fundamental has changed. The real story is this. I came into this challenge feeling like a small boat, tossed around by the waves of life. I'm leaving it feeling like I'm finally learning how to steer. The anxiety hasn't disappeared, but now I have a toolkit. When I feel anger rising, I have the pause. When I fear the future, I have negative visualization. When I feel overwhelmed, I have the view from above. And when I forget all of this, I have my journal to bring me back. Stoicism hasn't made me emotionless. It's helped me become the master of my emotions rather than their slave. It's not about being a robot. It's about having an internal fortress, a citadel of the mind that stays calm and strong, no matter what chaos is raging outside. This strength, I found, wasn't something I had to build from nothing. It was already there. This resilience is inside you, too. It's your birthright as a human being. It just needs to be trained. It needs to be practiced, day after day, in the small moments of your life. That's the whole secret. The power to be calm in any situation isn't out there somewhere. It's within. If this journey resonated with you, maybe share this with someone you think could use a little more calm in the chaos. Until next time, be well and be strong.